Now, investors at the Nigerian equities markets are positioning ahead of the release of full-year earnings list of listed companies. David Gwatau, an investment research analyst at ARM, joins me to gauge the depth of investors' sentiments. David, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here with us. It's been another trading week for the market. A bit of a topsy-turvy. A few days of gains, few days of losses or profit taking. Talk to us about your highlights this week.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, first of all. So yes, of course, this week has been interesting. We've seen mixed sentiments in the market. We've seen, as you said, 2 days of profit taking, 2 days of gains in the market. Of course, we've seen MTN, Transcore, GTCO, being the top movers, right, moving the market to positive position. And on the negative side, we've seen profit-taking activities in Dangsem, we've seen in Unilever and some other stocks. So I mean, basically, we've seen mixed sentiments. The market is standing at a delicate balance right now, right? It's coming from last week's bearish trading, trading week. So although it looks like, I think at last check, it was about 0.42% week to date. So, I mean, it looks like we're gearing up for a positive week this week.
Right, just under 1% in gains. Well, not too shabby. I mean, still the start of the year.
Of course.
I mean, let's talk about the oil and gas sector. We have the likes of Aradel, Seplat, Wando, of course, announcing that it has a secured operatorship of Block KON-13 in Angola. Talk to us about how investors view this stock, the sentiment around oil and gas stocks, the likes of not just Wando, Aradel, Seplat, and what they're looking forward to this year in terms of how those individual companies, how they're playing in the oil and gas field, the regulations, and developments that they're hoping will happen in the course of the year.
All right, thank you very much. So generally, I think sentiments towards the oil and gas sector are positive on a general basis, right? We've seen a lot of government attention on the sector. Governments are trying to wrap up oil production, right? We've also seen sector players engage in a lot of capital projects, trying to expand their assets and a lot of acquisitions. I mean, last year we saw Seplat, we saw Wando, we saw Aradel as well. Just recently as well, Aradel has been granted, the ministerial approval to acquire, under the Renaissance Consortium, it was granted the approval to acquire Shell's assets. So, I mean, generally there's a lot of expansion going on there. And if you look at the previous earnings, right, they have, the oil and gas space have continued to churn out strong earnings results. The downstream sector, margins still remain thin. However, I mean, because of the new PMS prices following the subsidy removal and also the frequent hikes we've seen recently, we expect, to see positive, that's going to, widen the margins. So we see increased profits in that space.
And even the earnings we're expecting full year from these names.
Yes, of course.
Are you expecting significant numbers? I mean, higher than what we saw previously.
Yes. I believe so. Of course, new assets in the market. They have new assets onboarded, right? So of course, we expect top line to expand significantly. Just last year, Seplat crossed the 1 trillion naira mark, right? And of course, we expect them to do better this year. So our projections are solid for the oil and gas sector.
All right. Now, I mean, what else should we be looking at the market? And also, and of course, we know that the market sometimes keeps an eye on the economy. Economic indicators like, of course, GDP growth, inflation, what the monetary authorities are doing, the exchange rate, and all of that. But talk to us about how those factors are interacting with the market. To what extent is the market even paying attention right now to those economic indicators?
Well, I'd say significantly. I mean, we know the dynamics of interest rates, right, which affects mostly the fixed income markets, and then and then the equities market in relationship. So it's an inverse relationship, right? So when you see yields going up in fixed income markets, we expect investors will be more, concentrated in that space, and would be kind of abandon the equities markets. But so of course, there has, things have been, in a place where there's a lot of investor attraction towards the fixed income market. However, with the recent changes, and I mean, now we're talking about the CPI rebasing, GDP rebasing, right? We're expecting to see inflation kind of slow down or taper. I mean, government projection is about 15%, right? So if we see inflation about 15%, we will expect that the MPC will most likely start to, take a dovish stance on monetary policy. So we might see gradual cuts. If this happens, of course, we expect that there will be more attention on the equities market. So we'll see a lot of maybe long positions in the fixed income markets and investors shifting towards the equities market.
Right. Let's talk about dividend yield or dividend payout for this full year 2024. We've seen, I believe, Transcorp has given a final dividend of 5 naira from 3.50 kobo previously. So, but what are investors' expectations in terms of the dividend yield and the kind of payout they will see for the full year results?
Well, of course. So, I mean, the interim dividend announced was 5 naira, right, for Transcorp. I mean, we expect to see, strong dividends and significantly increase as compared to last year, right? You look at the company financials. I mean, their top line had expanded significantly. They also were also in significant profits compared to the previous year. So I believe, yes, generally we should see increased dividend payouts from these companies.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed on that. Thank you for talking to us today. David Gwatau, Investment Research Analyst at ARM.